It is not that I do not deserve every cent for what I encountered mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. I just realized suing only benefits me, right? But there is that part of me that was like, until you do right by me, a suation is still plausible. Y'all gonna give me my reparations. Hi, it's Nicole, and welcome to my channel where I get vocal about workplace bullying, harassment, and all actions in between. Now, listen, unpacking my trauma is not easy, and I am going through the stages like I would with grief. So in my anger phase, I was really in this place of, let me at him, let's fight. And I'm suing. I realized suing only benefits me, and we're in this together. It was God who stepped in and was like, I'll take care of them. You focus on the bigger picture. Now, it was extremely difficult for me to kind of let go and let God, but I had to understand I'm more impactful on this side of the things while He handles them. So with that out of the way, let me remind everyone or inform everyone that we spend, most of us, more time at work than we do at home. And if the government requires labor in order for people to make money to have a living, then the responsibility falls on them to ensure the protection of all workers in the workplace. With that, we need laws. And I just happen to have a list of demands. So with this list, I am hoping to get laws implemented and in place to protect all employees. So let's go through these. My first demand is that the workplace must provide on-site counseling. Now, regardless of what goes on in my personal life, I'm still required to show up at work. So having on-site counseling for mental health purposes, especially when your mental health is being impacted by the workplace, they should be required to provide, even if it's not full-time counseling staff, but someone there to ensure the mental health of the staff is taken care of. The second demand is parallel to the first in that the government should provide everyone with free therapy. Therapy should be easily accessible. And I know some may argue and say, well, there's more online opportunities now, so it's easily accessible. But financially, it's not easily accessible. And that's because, well, maybe your job isn't paying you enough, to be able to incorporate that into your budget. With mental illness on the rise since the start of the pandemic, this is necessary because how someone is affected in one area of life will always bleed into the other. Whether I take my work home or my home comes to work just helps with the intersectionality of work and home and how that impacts the mental and physical state of beings. The third demand is that every organization should be out here providing full-time employees healthcare. To not do so, but to only provide executives is neglect. I started off part-time, and of course, as a part-timer, there was no benefits. But after a year, when I was able to solidify funding to have me as a full-time employee by the works of my efforts, there is no reason why I should not have gotten healthcare. Now, I work with kids, the germiest of the germiest. No disrespect to anyone who has kids, but you guys know they are the carriers of all things cooties. And it was no reason for me to not be protected by the organization that hired me to do a job in the school system to make sure that I was at my full health at all times. To only make it a priority for the executive level showed you how not important the staff was to them. Again, the mental, physical well-being of the staff was not taken into consideration, and that should never be the case anywhere. Demand number 4, every organization should have HR. Now, we know that HR is not for the employee, right? They are for the employer. But to not have one to direct issues so that it is documented is problematic. Regardless of whose side HR is on, there needs to be a level of security in terms of having someone there that sole responsibility is the human resources. Like, it's not really that difficult to comprehend, and no organization should be allowed to get away with not having one. Things can easily be swept under the rug with no gatekeeper. Having no HR gives room to abuse of power, and if the organization doesn't have enough staff to file a EEOC complaint, then where does that leave you? Like, if you don't have, I believe in most states, 15 employees and you're working off of a small organization like what I was working for, there was at any given time 4 employees. The rest contractors. Contractors don't have EEOC complaints, so there's that. So how does one who has issues with bullying, harassment, intimidation with no HR file a complaint? Demand number 5, it should be required for a culture advocate to come annually. Now, let me explain. A culture advocate is someone who ensures the environment is safe and healthy. A separate entity that comes to do wellness checks, similar to a social worker. With my situation, there was no HR. My issue was with the executive director. The handbook referred me to the board chair. The board chair was the puppeteer to the ED, who was dismissive of complaints and was also a bully.
20 minutes later.
How that's supposed to work? We need someone that is going to be able to come in and make sure that the organization is healthy. It's a space where everyone equally can thrive. Now follow me with this one. Demand number 6, it should be required of all executives and high-level managers to have a psych evaluation. I'm sure we can all agree that there are some people who should not be leading ants, right? So if they're not equipped to lead something so minuscule, how do you allow them to lead over bodies, over individuals, over humans? If we can require people to have background checks, we can require people to have mental evaluations. I'm just saying. Now, I know that this request could be taken in an insensitive manner, but I really do feel like we need to make sure that if we are putting someone in a place of power, that they know how to use that power versus abuse that power, and that they are mentally sound and capable of being able to do so in terms of being in charge of other people. I'm not making fun of anyone's mental capacity or mental state. I have my own mental imbalances, which includes anxiety and depression, but those things are internal and a direct result of me. That does not dictate how I treat other people. Certain mental disabilities should not be allowed at an executive level when it could impact the mental health and stability of those working under them. You can't have a problem and then not expect that problem to be an effect to someone else. With Cruella, and if you do not know who I'm referring to, I will leave a link in the description box below. Cruella will often say things that will make you go, huh? Like really start to question your sanity because the things that she would say were so insane. For example, she took the staff out to a lunch and she decided that she was going to dominate the conversation. She proceeds to tell us how her first husband looked good on paper and that her second husband was an Adonis. I mean, that's debatable. Her second husband was waiting in the wings. I'm like, so this what you want to talk about? Okay. But it was her discussion about her kids that was just like, wait, what? She tells us that when she had her son, it took her a while because he was ugly. Now, I'm not the one to need validations, but I need you guys to go to the comment section and let me know if this is normal discussion for an executive director to be having with her staff at a staff luncheon. Now, some people may not find that comment problematic. However, We are talking about workplace discussion versus personal discussion. Even though I don't even think a mother saying that their child was ugly and it took them a while to adjust to them is something that anybody of a sound mind would say to a stranger, to say to their coworkers, to say out loud. I could be wrong. What do I know? But please, leave it in the comment section below and let me know if that is appropriate, if that's not screaming something not mentally right, with that being the topic of conversation at a lunch. Furthermore, she would say things like, I only got my degree in such and such because my father told me to. I never had any dreams. Now pause. To say you never had any dreams, like nothing, not one, like you didn't think at any point in life what it is that you want to be, who you wanted to become, how you wanted to achieve things, like no dreams. Like, and you feel confident in sharing that you don't have any dreams? Like, seriously, no one finds that problematic, like mentally, like that's not. Moving on. But when she said that she didn't know how she got here, meaning her stage in life, her being an executive director of a nonprofit Black arts organization, I was like, again, you feel comfortable saying those things? And I'm supposed to be confident with you as my leader. The devil is a liar and twice on Sundays, because there's no way that this is normal, non-mental behavior. It must be just me. It has to be. I'm okay, Shug. Am I getting too hyped for you? I apologize. It's okay, Mama. I'm okay. I'm doing okay. You want to check on me? You're so sweet. Thank you, baby girl. My emotional support says, sis, I need you to calm all the way down. Demand number 7 is for good measure. There needs to be a required leadership training. Police officers, lawyers, healthcare professionals all have to take both. I need executives to go to these leadership trainings, get real intense knowledge on how to be leaders, how to treat their staff, how to make sure that there are policies and procedures and those are being adhered to, that there is a safe and hostile-free environment for all parties involved. We need that same level of energy for execs and high-level managers. Overall, there needs to be laws to protect employees. And my list is just a small list, but I feel like it's a good place to start. Over this year, I will be flushing that list out, providing more details and clarity. Those are my list of demands. That's it, that's all. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of my list, and if you have some to add. I have no problem with taking some recommendations, adding some demands of yours to mine, because we're in this together. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, your voice is your superpower, so don't be afraid to use it. And if no one told you today, let me be the one to say, I love you. Cheers.